Welcome to the Adventures of the Monad. We continue our look at the other inhabitants of the mental world. The Devas do not have physical bodies like we do. The lowest kind are called Kama Devas, and they have emotional envelopes. The next class is the Rupa Devas, who have bodies of lower mental matter and live on the four lower levels of the mental plane 47, 4 to 7. The third class is the Arupa Devas, who reside in bodies of higher mental or causal matter. Above these classes, four other grade classes are living on the higher planes of our solar system. Beyond the Deva kingdom are the great hosts of planetary spirits. This presentation primarily focuses on the Rupa Devas. The connection between Devas and nature spirits is similar to the relationship between humans and animals, but at a higher level. Just as an animal can develop its unique identity through interaction with humans, it appears that a nature spirit can acquire a lasting, reincarnating individuality through a similar connection with Devas. Devas will never become human. Most of them are beyond that stage, but some have been human beings in the past. The bodies of Devas are more fluidic than humans, capable of greater expansion and contraction. They have a fiery quality that distinguishes them from human beings. The fluctuations in the aura of a Deva are so significant that, for instance, the aura of one that was typically about 150 yards in diameter has been observed to expand to about 2 miles in diameter. The colors in the aura of a Deva are more like flames than clouds. A person's aura looks like an exceedingly brilliant yet delicate cloud of glowing gas, while a Deva's aura looks like a mass of fire. Devas reside much more in the surrounding area, encompassing more of their auras than humans do. While 99% of a human's aura is within the boundaries of their physical body, the proportion is much less in the case of Devas. They usually appear as human beings of gigantic size. They possess vast knowledge and great power, and are most splendid in appearance. They are described as radiant, flashing creatures with myriad hues, changing supernal colors, and a stately imperial appearance. They embody calm energy and irresistible strength. In the book of Revelations, one is described as having a rainbow upon his head, with his face like the sun and his feet as pillars of fire. Their voices are described as the sound of many waters. They guide the natural order, and their cohorts carry on the process of nature with regularity and accuracy. Devas create thought forms similar to ours, but their forms are generally less tangible until they reach an advanced stage. They have a broad generalizing nature and constantly devise magnificent plans. They communicate using a language of colors, which may not be as precise as our spoken language, but in certain ways may convey more. The Devas do not undergo at the initiations we undergo. Their realm and ours intersects at a level higher than that of the Adept 45. There are ways a person can join the Deva evolution even at our level or lower. Accepting this path of evolution is sometimes comparable to the selfless renunciation of the Nirmanakayas, as yielding to the temptation to become a god. However, it is important to note that no blame is attached to the person who makes this choice. Their path may not be the shortest, but it is certainly noble. If their developed intuition guides them towards it, it is the one best suited for their capabilities. There is no knowledge of any rule or limit for the work of the Devas. They have more lines of activity than we can imagine. they are usually quite willing to explain and demonstrate subjects along their line to any human being who is sufficiently developed to appreciate them. Much instruction is given in this way, but only some can benefit from it as of now. While Devas are exceedingly beautiful, their lower orders have the vaguest and cloudiest conception of things, and they are inaccurate regarding facts. Therefore, even though a Deva friend may be an exceedingly interesting person, it is important to be cautious in following their advice about physical actions, as it may not be relevant to the facts surrounding humanity's evolution. The highest order of divine beings wholeheartedly cooperate with the grand plan of the universe, thus contributing to the perfect order we observe in nature. This perfect order is active and automatic among the lower ranks rather than conscious. They carry out their work compelled by the one will that permeates everything. In the case of national Devas, each nation's leader is a being of high intelligence who always cooperates with the plan. However, the lower national Devas may be fighting for their nation on the battlefield. As their intelligence develops, they cooperate more and more with the plan. The spirit of the earth, an obscure being whose envelopes the earth, is not of the highest order of Devas. Not much is known about him. It can be said that he is more closely associated with the Rupa Devas as he envelops the earth. This being may belong to one of the other 5 evolutionary streams associated with our world. But this is pure speculation and therefore most likely to be wrong. Devas who have surpassed the Asika Adept 45 level, equivalent to the 5th initiation, typically reside in what is known as the envelope of knowledge. The lower part of this envelope is an atom of the divine plane 44, which functions for them similarly to how our physical envelopes function for us. Please refer to the emotional envelope presentation for a description of the 4 Deva Rajas or regions of the earth. In Freemasonry, the 4 tassels at the corners of the indented border symbolize the Deva Rajas, the rulers of the elements of earth, water, air, and fire, and the agents of the law of karma. Animals are primarily associated with group souls located on the lower mental plane. Describing the nature of these group souls would be beyond the scope of our current discussion, so we will only mention them briefly here. Individualized animals, along with their state of consciousness on the mental plane, have already been explained. In a previous presentation, we discussed the creation of the mental elemental essence. We also explored its role in forming part of the human mental envelope and its use in thought forms. Therefore, there is little more to add about it at this point. There are 3 elemental kingdoms. The first kingdom pertains to the matter of the higher mental or causal subplanes 47, 1-3. The second kingdom relates to the matter of the 4 lower levels of the mental plane 47, 4-7. The third kingdom encompasses emotional matter 48, 1-7. In the second kingdom, the highest subdivision exists on the 4th subplane, with 2 classes on each of the 3 lower subplanes, making a total of 7 subdivisions on these 4 subplanes. We have already observed that the mental essence is on the downward arc of evolution and therefore is less evolved than the emotional essence and certainly less evolved than any kind of the later kingdoms, such as the minerals. We have also stressed the importance of this fact, which you should always keep in mind. Mental essence is even more sensitive to thought action than emotional essence. It responds instantaneously and delicately to the finest action of the mind, and its very life depends on this response. Thinking entities can help the progress of elemental essence by using it. When the mind is free from thought, the world appears as a formless collection of dancing atoms, full of life, but not progressing into a material form. However, when thought activates atoms, they take beautiful forms and gain additional momentum and continue involving. When a thought originates from higher levels and is directed towards earthly matter, it descends and takes on the properties of the lower planes. In doing so, it brings the elemental essence from which the first veil is formed into contact with the lower matter. As a result, the essence gradually becomes accustomed to responding to lower vibrations, thus progressing in its downward evolution into matter. The essence is significantly influenced by music created by great musicians in the Devachan. There is a significant difference between the grandeur and power of thought on its own plane and the relatively feeble effort we know as thought on the physical plane. Ordinary thoughts originate in the mental envelope and, as they descend, they manifest in emotional essence. A person using their causal envelope generates thoughts at this higher level. These thoughts then manifest in lower mental essence, making them infinitely finer, more penetrating, and in every way more effective. When our thoughts are focused solely on higher ideals, their impact may be too subtle to be expressed in emotional essences. However, when they influence our emotions, their effect is much greater than thoughts generated at the same level as our emotions, kama manas. The concepts gleaned by an initiate originate on the unity plane 46 and manifest in causal matter. Similarly, the concepts held by a master originate on the lower spiritual plane 45-47, wielding extraordinary power from realms of matter that are beyond our usual understanding. The last group we will talk about are called the artificials, and in this group we find the elementals. The mental plane is populated by artificial elementals, also known as thought forms. They are found here to a greater extent than on the emotional plane. These elementals play a significant role among the living creatures that operate on the mental plane. They are more radiant, brightly colored, stronger, longer lasting, and more fully vitalized than emotional elementals. The power of thought on the mental plane is immense, as it is not only wielded by human beings but also devas and visitors from higher planes. This emphasizes the significance and influence of artificial entities. Masters and initiates make great use of these mental elementals. The elementals they create on the mental planes of matter have a much longer existence and greater power than the ones created in the emotional world. We have dealt with the mental envelope in some detail. Now, what happens when it dies? Find out in the next presentation. Thank you.